Live from KSAT 12, the 6 o'clock news starts right now.
A 12-year-old boy dead. His own father and stepmother, who just gained custody of the child, have been charged in connection with his death.
Now, investigators say that the couple initially told police the boy had fallen in the shower. But our Japhanie Gray reports the arrest warrant tells a completely different story.
I want to warn you, some of the details in this story are disturbing.
We noticed when we came out after service, there was some police out here. Then we seen the crime scene unit.
Pastor Brian Ayala says he's disturbed after learning what happened Sunday afternoon at the Woodland Ridge apartment complex. San Antonio police discovered 12-year-old Danilo Coles unresponsive inside an apartment. The child's father, Derek Coles, and his stepmother, Capri Cheatham, are charged with causing serious bodily injury to the child, resulting in his death for, quote, being disrespectful, according to an affidavit. Neighbors we talked to are in disbelief.
He's in a better place, obviously. I mean, to be going through that kind of hell is awful.
The police affidavit states Coles told police that the child had fallen in the shower, but when he was taken to the hospital, nurses informed police that the boy's injuries were not consistent to the couple's story. According to the affidavit, during an interview with police, the couple admitted that after their son said something disrespectful, Coles busted the boy's lip. But the abuse didn't stop there. The affidavit states that at one point, the parents allegedly made the child hold a big case of water similar to this for an hour. Now, we all know, even as adults, holding this for 1 minute can be a struggle. The arrest warrant goes on to describe more punishments the couple allegedly enforced. Push-ups for 3 to 4 hours at a time and hitting him with a belt were some. According to the warrant, Danilo also suffered injuries to his buttocks, whipping marks on his torso and legs, and internal bleeding before passing away.
And here we are with the life that has been lost because it could have been prevented.
Both parents were charged with injury to a child causing serious bodily injury, which is a first-degree felony. Both bonds set at $150,000. Now, we've also learned that there were other children in the home that were removed. Those children currently in the custody of Child Protective Services. At the Bexar County Jail, Japhanie Gray, KSAT 12 News.
And here today, we're learning about a Texas Army National Guard soldier's death. Information limited, but we do know this was a non-mission related incident. Officials say the soldier was assigned to Operation Lone Star. The soldier injured in Brackettville, that's about 30 miles east of Del Rio, and then airlifted to a San Antonio hospital where they later died. The soldier's identity won't be released until next of kin is notified. The cause of the death is under investigation.
30,000 cases. That is the backlog of criminal cases on hold right now in Bexar County, in large part thanks to COVID. One judge is hoping that a new change by the Texas Supreme Court will help move some of those cases to a hybrid model. Erica Hernandez explains what a hybrid trial would look like.
The hallways are quiet at the courthouse as all hearings are mostly on Zoom and in-person trials are on hold.
Every time that we open and shut down, the line just keeps getting bigger for in-person jury trials.
All right.
That is why 226 Criminal District Court Judge Velia Mesa is hoping for some cases to begin as hybrid trials.
What I envision doing is selecting the jury on Zoom, and then the jury that is selected will appear in person.
Since the beginning of the COVID pandemic, the Texas Supreme Court had allowed only civil trials to take place virtually, but recently gave the go-ahead for criminal trials as well, but under some conditions. Prosecutors and defense attorneys would have to both agree to virtual or hybrid trials, and local authorities would have to allow it during a time of high rates of COVID infections.
Not all cases would qualify for a hybrid trial. You wouldn't see a murder case, but you could see one involving lower felonies like drug cases.
I'm providing an avenue whereby we can still keep going, and we can use it even when we reopen.
Judge Mesa's primary opponent, Attorney Demetrio Duarte, says from a criminal defense lawyer standpoint, this isn't an option he would recommend to any of his clients.
I want a full jury trial, face-to-face, where I can see that everybody is paying attention, that I get their body language, that I can hear what they're saying. And no, I'm not going to go and agree to a hybrid jury trial.
If Judge Mesa does get the clearance for a hybrid trial, they could begin in about 2 weeks. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
And now to a developing story. 4 people escaping a duplex that caught fire last night on the northwest side. This fire started just before 10 p.m. on Echo Creek Lane. That's not far from Eckerd and Hebner roads. When fire crews got there, they saw the flames all the way up to the attic. Crews had to fight the flames from the outside. No one was hurt, and the cause is still unknown.
The Travis County Sheriff's Office needs your help in looking for a man they believe killed his girlfriend who disappeared last month. 38-year-old Camarina Perez from Pflugerville near Austin, last seen on January 25th. A clear alert issued for Perez and her boyfriend, 35-year-old Luis Montes. Now a murder warrant has been issued for him. Travis County deputies believe Montes abducted Perez due to previous threats he made about her. Anyone with information on his whereabouts asked to call the Travis County Crime Stoppers number. That's 512-472-TIPS.
A Houston robbery suspect shot and killed by police today after allegedly firing at officers. This happened just before 11 a.m. while Houston police were trying to take the man in for a robbery warrant. Police say when they got to the suspect's home, he allegedly started opening fire on the officers. 4 of the officers fired back, with one of the shots being fatal. The suspect died there at the scene. The 4 officers now on administrative leave, pending the outcome of an investigation.
The city and business leaders gathered at City Hall to trumpet a pending $200 million job training program. Voters approved using sales tax dollars for SA Ready to Work back in November of 2020. But as City Hall reporter Garrett Berger tells us, the final tally of who will be helped may not be as high as expected.
Gathered on the steps of City Hall, city officials and business leaders say they're ready to start on the SA Ready to Work program.
No other city in the country is investing this much money in this basket of goods.
The program will fund certification programs as well as associate's and bachelor's degree programs for in-demand careers. And city employers such as Toyota, Methodist Hospital, and Frost Bank will be involved in determining which careers those are.
That gives me the confidence that we're going to have the alignment necessary for what their jobs are so we can build the program so that when people finish, we haven't built the bridge to nowhere.
In the lead up to the vote on this program, the mayor said up to 40,000 people would be trained. Today, city officials said based on budget projections, they expect enrollment in programs to actually be closer to 28,000. Despite that, the city manager says they don't feel they're scaling back a promise and that the labor market has changed since the vote.
And so we'll need to continue to be nimble as an organization and stay plugged in with the employers.
The city's also coming off debatable success for the last workforce program, Train for Jobs SA. It had a goal of 10,000 people served by September of last year, with about 3/4 completing a job training or high school equivalency program. The city could still hit that number, but so far, fewer than 2,300 have actually finished. Still, Mayor Nurnberg says the city needs to continue to invest in human capital and close the gap between skills and available jobs.
If we don't do that, we're going to continue to suffer with the lack of economic mobility that we've seen over years.
More details on the plan will be presented at City Council this Wednesday. Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
SeaWorld, Cedar Fair, and Schlitterbahn could be 3 keys to a multi-billion-dollar deal with the local impact. SeaWorld has bid $3.4 billion in an unsolicited offer to acquire Cedar Fair. They own Schlitterbahn. Schlitterbahn, one of SeaWorld San Antonio's biggest competitors, about 45 miles away in New Braunfels. Now, according to the Cedar Fair website, the company will review the offer before making a decision. Back in 2019, Six Flags offered Cedar Fair $4 billion that the company then turned down.
It is an area called Honey Creek Spring Ranch in Comal County. It's now under protection from future development. The Texas Parks and Wildlife Department making that announcement today. The more than 600 acres have been owned and operated by a local family for more than 150 years. Officials say it is regarded as an area of ecological importance due to endangered species that live there. But now it'll be taken care of by the Nature Conservancy.
Let's take a look outside with live cam this evening. 58 degrees, kicking off the week in a beautiful way here, Adam.
Yeah, beautiful day today. And actually, we were above freezing earlier this morning. And right now, officially at the airport, 58 degrees, dew point of 28. So dry air with a clear sky, not much of a breeze. These temperatures that you see will be falling off pretty quickly this evening. So have that jacket within reach if you're venturing out. Uvalde now at 60. We're at 58 Rio Medina, 55 in Comfort. Bernie right now at 54 and Canyon Lake 58 degrees. These temperatures quickly down into the mid 40s just within the matter of a few hours. I think by 9 o'clock we'll see many readings down in the 40s. And tomorrow morning, a brief light freeze. We're going to talk about how cold it's going to get and where, along with temperatures for the rest of the week and a slight chance of rain. Myra.
All right, thanks, Adam. You've heard of the Edwards Aquifer, and you have seen our weather team giving the updates on the water levels. But how much do you really know about the history, the regulation, and the future of San Antonio's primary source of water? We're answering those questions and more in this week's new episode of KSAT Explains. It will be available to stream on demand starting tomorrow evening. We'll live stream the episode at 7 p.m. right after this newscast on KSAT.com and the KSAT Facebook page. Now, if you can't catch that live, we'll post the full episode so you can watch it on demand after that.
The San Antonio police have a new officer, and he's not your normal officer. His name is DJ. He's 10 years old, and he's ready to serve. Today, he was sworn into SAPD, got to ride in the SAPD Eagle helicopter. It's part of his goal to get sworn in by 100 different agencies throughout Texas. He's doing this all while battling terminal cancer.
Feel for him. It puts the joy in his heart. It put that spark there. It keeps going. And he doesn't think about his cancer.
And he gives us hope. It's not so much as what we're doing for him. It's more what he's doing for us. He's facing a life-threatening situation, and officers are familiar with that, and we can relate to what he's going through.
All right, get this. DJ surpassed his goal. He was sworn in by more than 130 agencies, but he's not stopping. He's continuing on. He's even getting responses from out of state.
130. Wow.
Love it. Keep going, DJ.
Yeah, congratulations. The VFW is branching out to try to get some new recruitments, how they're incorporating tech into this effort.
And it's a first ever for Our Lady of the Lake University, how the new president-elect's background already history making before he even officially takes over.
Let's take a look here at the TransGuide camera. Traffic out there right now at I-35 at Walsham. You can see it's really slow going in both directions, even there on the access road. No real tie-up to tell you about, just the 6 o'clock commute.
Transparency with the public. That is the push behind the release of body cam footage from law enforcement. But when it comes to getting it done quickly, the Bexar County Sheriff says he'll need more funding to do that. Coming up tonight on the Night Beat, why one Bexar County commissioner says the millions of additional dollars that are being requested in order to release the footage within 10 days is unnecessary. Plus, if you're looking to buy a new car, you might need to pack your patience and be prepared to pay a little more. How the pandemic and supply chain issues are continuing to affect the automobile industry. Those stories and more tonight on the Night Beat at 10.
It is a first at Our Lady of the Lake University. The recently announced president-elect, Abel Antonio Chavez, is the first Latino to hold that position in the university's history.
Our Alicia Barrera spoke to Dr. Chavez about what it means to him to hold this title and how he'll use it to his advantage.
Dr. Abel Antonio Chavez will take the reins of Our Lady of the Lake University in July of this year as the first Latino male to serve as president.
A big sense of obligation and responsibility came upon me.
He's a Colorado native with ties to the Texas-Mexico border.
Mom and dad are from Juarez, Ciudad Juarez, Chihuahua, Mexico. As a kid, we were raised in Denver, and we would travel to El Paso to Juarez a few times a year.
He lived and witnessed firsthand the complexities first-generation students face.
From housing to economic development, to energy development, to food, to water, to transportation, the list goes on.
It's a perspective he's eager to bring to Our Lady of the Lake University, where 66% of all students are Hispanic and 40% identify as first generation, just like him.
There's no denying Dr. Chavez's heritage will make an impact throughout the student body, the institution as a whole. But Dr. Chavez says he's also focused on las familias, the families.
And first on the list, helping families navigate admission and federal financial aid applications.
Where I will make a case for continuing to identify and to surgically remove some of these barriers of access, affordability, and completion that our students continue to struggle with.
Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
Time is ticking as the 2022 San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo gets closer. Right now, preparations are underway. Our cameras were there when volunteers moved in all that dirt to the AT&T Center today. Now, this process to get the 2,000 tons of dirt in place took about 7 hours. Did you know this dirt right here is 34 years old? That's right, it's the same dirt they use every single year. The rodeo begins this Thursday at 10 a.m. and runs until Sunday, February 27th.
So in this case, older than dirt just means 34. So that's not
right.
bad.
It's a low threshold.
Exactly. Sky 12 outside the AT&T Center. Looks like they're getting ready for the carnival, which is on one side of the rodeo grounds. And of course, we're going to bring you opening night, Thursday live, followed by a KSAT 12 news special on the rodeo, and should be an exciting event out there.
I can smell all the fried food.
Oh, yeah. Funnel cakes.
I was just thinking that.
Because when you think of a carnival,
yeah,
that's what you
fried
think
food.
of.
Enough with the rides. Let's get to the food.
That's right.
And usually it's cold for the rodeo. Not necessarily this year.
No, not yet at least. I do think we'll encounter a bit of a cold front in the more extended forecast. We're talking beyond 7 days, but nothing very significant right now that's going to be affecting us. And actually today we were just above freezing, 39 degrees earlier this morning, and then a high temperature of 64 this afternoon, and actually just near 70. Del Rio, a high of 68. Cotulla topped out at 69 degrees, but we were stuck in the 50s in the hill country throughout the day. But as we go forward the rest of this week, temperatures are going to warm up a bit for the afternoons. Mid-60s again tomorrow, then right near 70 degrees Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and even into the weekend. High temperatures aren't going to change a whole lot, though. Morning lows are going to fluctuate a bit, so let's talk about that here. First of all, look at the current readings outside. A lot of 50s, still hanging on to some 60s. Stinson right now 63, Pleasanton 62, Castroville at 61. Meanwhile, New Braunfels 58, and Devine right now at 59 degrees. So a mixture of some 50s and 60s out there, but these temperatures will be falling off quickly this evening. By tomorrow morning, we're talking a brief and light freeze. Nothing significant. Nothing even close to what we had last week in terms of temperatures. I mean, we'll be at or slightly below freezing. So about 28 Kerrville, Fredericksburg, just barely above freezing in Rock Springs. Uvalde about 32 degrees, Pleasanton 31. And I think even in San Antonio, we'll range from about 29 to 32 degrees. So brief light freeze tomorrow morning, but by Wednesday all the way through the weekend, so basically thereafter, morning temperatures are back above freezing. Still a bit of a chill in the air at times, but luckily a little above freezing. We had some clouds earlier this morning, but the rain was far to the south of us, down in the valley. At least some folks tapped into a little bit of moisture. Big dip in the upper level flow here over Texas, helping to cause some of that activity. Again, around here, we just had some morning clouds. As for rain chances in the days ahead, it's looking pretty bleak. Our upper level pattern's not going to change much until we get into Friday, Saturday. That's when a very weak upper level disturbance should drop into northern Mexico. Should be enough to throw a little bit of energy our way and maybe kickstart a few showers on Saturday. Nothing significant, just a few hit or miss, very light showers possible. We're giving it about a 20% chance. Otherwise, nothing but sunshine through the weekend and into early next week. So here's the breakdown for you tomorrow. We'll start the day right around the freezing point. Upper 20s in some outlying areas, most of us right around 31, 32. Then mid 60s by the afternoon. Not much of a breeze either, just light and variable, about 2 to 6 miles per hour. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, near 70, total sunshine. Saturday actually features a very weak cold front. I mean, very weak front. It's going to kick up the wind to maybe 20 miles per hour Saturday afternoon. Nothing like what we've been handling over the past several weeks. And high temperatures in the mid 60s over the weekend. And notice, even behind that cold front right now, we're anticipating morning temperatures to remain even a little above freezing at that point.
Beautiful week ahead. Thanks, Adam.
All right, you know what? It's time. It is the week that is perhaps the most hyped week of the entire year.
And if you're one of the players, what is the one thing you don't want to deal with in Super Bowl week? And that would be family drama. But that is the case for one very well-known player. When we come back, we'll let you know before they kick off Super Bowl 56 in Inglewood, California, less than a week from today. And is the Cincinnati Bengals quarterback, Broadway Joe II, coming up.
Pro football coverage, powered by Davis Law Firm.
After never happening in the history of the NFL before, for the second straight year, the home team will host the Super Bowl. Last year was Tampa Bay. This year's the Los Angeles Rams, who won't have to travel far to host Super Bowl 56. It's in Inglewood, California, at SoFi Stadium. That's where the odds have increased for the Rams, where LA is now 4.5-point favorites to win their first Super Bowl based in Los Angeles. And for Matt Stafford, his first shot after 13 years in the league as he turns 34 today. One of Stafford's go-to guys, Odell Beckham Jr., who is enjoying a resurgence of his career, while the Rams were expecting his first child with his girlfriend. Now, talk about trying to stay focused as a wide receiver.
Any moment, and I'm truly just excited about that in my heart. Like it's the craziest feeling, as we're waiting for that. So I'll keep you posted. And as far as people reaching out, teammates and all that, everyone, has definitely been there, and it's just proud of you, happy for you. Now go win it. That kind of vibe.
The Cincinnati Bengals will not be arriving in Los Angeles till tomorrow, even though Media Day is tonight. But since that is all being handled virtually again this year because of COVID protocol, not really a big deal. Instead, the Bengals will hold their own rally tonight in Cincinnati before the underdogs head to the West Coast, where they'll try and win their first Super Bowl in team history. A lot has been made about the swagger Joe Burrow brings with him that he demonstrated not just in his second season in the NFL with the glasses and diamond necklace, but in college when he won the national championship for LSU. Burrow was asked, where does this come from?
I don't know. I don't really consciously think about it. I just wear stuff that I think I would like. It's not like I'm shopping and be like, oh, everyone would love this. I just have always kind of not cared what anybody thinks about, what I wear, what I do, and just wear stuff that I like.
There you go. That was simple. Here's the matchup. It'll be Sunday at 5:30 in SoFi Stadium. After playing in Sunday's Pro Bowl, where he caught 4 passes and 23 yards in the NFC's loss to the AFC 41-35, Saints running back Alvin Camaro was arrested by Las Vegas police. He is charged with battery with a substantial bodily injury, has been released on bond. That's after police were called to a bar on Saturday night, the night before the Pro Bowl, where someone there accused him of the assault. Our San Antonio Spurs got in their second straight day of practice while they enjoy 4 days between games before they tip off their 8-game rodeo road trip. This year, the Spurs will play 5 games in 8 nights before the All-Star break and follow that up with 3 games in 4 nights before returning to face Sacramento at home on March the 3rd. The Spurs will have both of their bigs back, Jock Landale and Jakob Poeltl, after both were in the league's concussion protocol that forced Landale to miss 2 games and Jakob only 1. Does Jakob even remember taking the hits?
I felt a little dazed. I wasn't sure if it was a concussion or not, so I kept playing. But then a couple symptoms started showing, so I talked to the trainers, and they told me to go to the back. We got assessed, and they told me it's probably a concussion.
I saw him get hit, and he was like a little out of it, and he's like gonna go get checked. So I mean, obviously just concerned him as a person. Obviously you don't want to mess with the brain, what little one he has.
With friends like that, come on! They open up against the Cavaliers Wednesday at 6 o'clock before they play the next 7 games. Congratulations again to DeJounte Murray, who made the All-Star game as a commissioner appointment for an injury replacement, and you'll hear from DeJounte tonight on the Night Beat.
The Spurs locker room kind of sounds like the newsroom.
It sure does.
A little back and forth there.
Yes, it sure
I'm
does.
Just saying,
Yeah.
some of us. Yeah.
Some of us. Who would that be? Exactly. Yeah. Our KSAT Q&A is up next.
I wonder.
She is a key part of the local fight against COVID-19 here in our community. And in today's KSAT Q&A, we are joined by Dr. Junda Wu, the medical director at Metro Health, to talk about things like at-home tests, when to quarantine, when to isolate, all the things that we're all trying to keep straight as this pandemic continues to change. Dr. Wu, thanks for being here. Let's start with that in terms of knowing when to quarantine, when you should isolate, and what rules at this point apply to who?
Thanks for having me.
Isolation is for anybody who tested positive, whether you have symptoms or not. And the big message is it's not just 5 days for everybody and that's it. I think there was a little bit of an uproar when that was what people thought the rule was, but it's always been that applies to people who don't have symptoms or have very mild symptoms that are going away by day 5. If you're still feeling sick on day 5, if you still have fever, the regular quarantine time is at least 10 days plus until you haven't had a fever for 24 hours and your symptoms are improving. Quarantine is now really complicated. It depends on things like your vaccination status, as well as, why you're quarantining. So I actually refer people to some online calculators, like there's one that the state of New Jersey has, just because it's easier than explaining all the details.
It's interesting that you bring it. I think that's an important fact. 5 days is if you're asymptomatic, you don't have any symptoms, or you're feeling better by the 5th day. If you're still feeling sick, stay home. You should still isolate. Do not go back to work. I'm glad you pointed that out. When we talk about home tests, there are a lot of people who are concerned about the accuracy of home tests. But it's my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you get a positive home test from one of the FDA-approved home tests, you can almost take that to the bank. You are positive.
At this time, if you're positive, then absolutely. I'm not going to go into how positivity, there's something called positive predictive value, how accurate you can count on your test being changes depending on how much disease is circulating in a community. But one really important point about home tests is the ones that come two to a box, those are meant to be used, both of them in sequence. You got to read the label, it's wait at least 24 hours, but before, 36 to 48 hours, but you have to do both to get the accuracy that is being claimed on the label.
I think that's a point that a lot of people are missing, especially now that the tests from the Postal Service, federal government are coming out. It's almost like, well, one for you, one for me, everybody in the household. But those two are meant for the same person, is what you're saying.
Think of it as one two-part test, not two separate tests.
And so I know that there's, especially when we're doing this ourselves, questions about when to test. If somebody feels like, for whatever reason, they either have symptoms, they've been exposed, they want to take a test, when is the best time to do that at home?
Yeah, thank you for asking, because people often want to test right away. And it's going to take a while for the virus to build up in your system if you do catch COVID to where it's detectable. So 5 days after your exposure is what's recommended.
Okay, I want to talk about the numbers that we've been seeing. And again, correct me if I'm wrong in this, but we've been seeing the number of cases go down, but we've been seeing the number of deaths go up. What is the reason for that?
This happens every surge, and it is because it takes a while to get from where you catch the infection and then you get tested and then you feel sick enough to go to the hospital and then things don't turn out so well in the hospital. So there's a lag, and then the hospital ends up having to report to us. So you can usually expect a 2 to 3 week lag.
Okay, so I know that as medical director, you understand a lot more about the way this disease behaves, pandemics in general, than the rest of us, the general population. So with where we are right now in this surge at this point in the pandemic, what is your overall message to the rest of San Antonio in terms of trying to stay safe and get through this?
Yeah, this is a time when a lot of us have some hope. But there's a lot of uncertainty too. And that's because we are now at a point where we could be living with the virus. What does that mean? It means we're going to pay more attention to hospitalizations than cases. It means that it's possible that we might not have more waves, or it's possible that we'll have more waves, but they won't be as disruptive. It doesn't mean that COVID will be completely harmless, because other infections that are endemic, like flu or rabies is endemic, that can be very harmful to individuals, but maybe not as disruptive to all of society. But that depends on more of us getting vaccinated. This is still an opportunity for more of us locally and globally to get vaccinated, because every person that gets infected is an opportunity for another variant. And that's the big unknown right now.
Dr. Jindal Wu, the medical director of Metro Health, thank you so much for your time and the information you gave us today.
Thank you.
Take care. We'll be right back.
San Antonio is Military City, USA. We have thousands and thousands of active military men and women and veterans. As Max Massey shows us, a local VFW post made some 21st century renovations in an effort to recruit more local veterans and help those people after they've served our country.
Honestly, with the quarantine, I realized that before all of that, I was isolating way more than I even realized I was.
Jake Van Hovel is an Army veteran. He served 2 tours overseas.
He got hurt in Afghanistan.
And Jake is now one of the many local veterans using this new and improved gaming room here at VFW Post 8541.
I'm excited about the VFW program incorporating gaming because I have seen how it's helped both him as a combat veteran and my dad as a combat veteran who never touched video games before.
This room took months to build, and the pandemic did not make the process any easier. In fact, the post was even forced to shut down for a bit.
We took that time to improve our fighting position here. You know, this was just used as an old storage area. We got our minds together and said, hey, we can build a gaming room.
And this influx of technology here at the VFW, it means so much for Military City, USA. It means so much for our veteran community, so much camaraderie, and so much for advocates of mental health.
As soon as they come in the door, they feel welcome. They know this is the place to escape. And, you know, I'll sit down and talk with them 2-3 hours. As any new face that comes in here.
As for Jake, he's a big fan of the new facility.
Making the gaming room at the VFW a big part of, you know, just my week and, you know, the schedule I'm trying to figure out for myself.
Max Massey, KSAT 12 News.
In the buzz today, the Minnesota Department of Transportation asking for the public's help in their Name a Snowplow contest. It's another one of these, but this one's pretty good. In the end, residents voting overwhelmingly to honor the late great actress Betty White. With more than 40,000 votes, Betty Whiteout plowed over the competition. Listen to the ones that she bested. Besting colorful runners-up like Control, Salt, Delete. I like it. That one. The Big Leplowski and Scoop Dog.
The top 8 submissions, including other gems like Blizzard of Oz, will adorn plows across the land of 10,000 lakes and the home of our own Adam Caskey, just in case you wondered. All right, Samsung's newest devices will also feature new material. The electronics company has incorporated plastic from repurposed fish nets into its products. The new material will be revealed on Wednesday when Samsung launches its new Galaxy devices. Citing a UN report, the company says 640,000 tons of fishing nets abandoned and discarded every year.
Apparently they linger in the ocean. They can trap marine life, damage coral reefs, and sometimes they even end up in our food and water sources. No thanks. All right, to celebrate International Golden Retriever Day, dog lovers in Colorado seized a golden get-together opportunity. The event a big success as organizers estimate some 2,000 Goldens were all gathered together, share some puppy love. As far as swag goes, the retrievers struck gold, enjoying doggy bags, puppy ice cream, and of course some snuggles.
Those are some golden girls there. This was staying with the Betty White theme.
I get it.
This was the first time for this event, and organizers say they will definitely return next year.
One of my favorite kinds of dogs.
Yeah. All right. Dig out your postage stamps. It's National Send a Card to a Friend Day. In both ancient Chinese and Egyptian cultures, it was customary to send elegantly designed messages to friends. And even with the availability of email, surprising 80% of adults still purchase greeting cards.
Oh, you know what? I put one in the mail today.
And Hallmark is very happy.
Didn't even know it was the holiday. It's addressed to Adam Caskey, who celebrates. While the exact origin of National Send a Card to a Friend Day is not known, here's a theory. Since Valentine's Day only a week away, maybe created to give people a chance to practice before the big day?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Send a friend a card day.
You like getting something in the mail, somebody thought of you. Maybe he doesn't deserve a day.
Something that's not junk mail or bills, you mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something that doesn't go straight into the trash.
Yeah.
It's becoming, you don't get those as often nowadays,
a lost
right?
art.
It is a lost art, I'll give you that. Especially you shove a few lottery tickets in it for them.
Oh, sweeten the deal.
Bingo,
Okay.
that's always good, yeah.
Good idea, good idea.
You're welcome. There we go, everybody.
All right, so warmer weather.
Yeah, some warmer weather. After we get through a chilly night tonight, a light freeze tonight, then we have some comfortable afternoons. I mean, we're talking near 70 degrees most of the afternoons this weekend, even to start the weekend, and a sunny stretch for the most part as well. Now let's talk about the cold weather we've had around here. So far, we've had 13 days where we've hit or even dropped below freezing. 13 days. 4 days have been below 25 degrees, and the coldest day so far was 21, and that was on February 4th. That was our low temperature, 21 degrees. And we average about 15 freezes a year. I do think we'll briefly dip down to the freezing point tonight, a very brief light freeze. Currently at 58 degrees, and across the state, temperatures are similar. 52 in Lubbock, Abilene, Midland, and El Paso. Del Rio still a bit warmer at 65. Hondo now 60, Cotulla 66, but these temperatures will all be falling off pretty quickly and efficiently in the coming hours. So if you're venturing outside, be sure to have that jacket within reach. I know that sun felt good today and it, felt comfortable in the afternoon, but temperatures falling off quickly. And tomorrow morning, I think we'll be right at and slightly below freezing. So Canyon Lake about 30 degrees, 26 Junction, 28 Kerrville, 29 Hondo, 31 Pleasanton. You get to Leon Springs, 29, along with Timberwood Park, Converse 31, and Elmendorf 31. So you get the idea. Just a brief light freeze, nothing like previous mornings, and especially what we had last week and into the last weekend. And morning temperatures will be on the rise a bit. I mean, I think we'll have that light freeze tonight and early tomorrow morning, but then we're going to be above freezing and even in the 40s by Friday and Saturday mornings, which is actually closer to average for this time of year. The average low now is in the low to mid 40s. That's where we typically are this time of year. Dew points are down. We have that dry air in place. So chapped lips, a little bit of dry skin. This is going to be the case for the foreseeable future. No real resurgence of moisture anytime soon. It would be kind of nice if we did, because then that can help us out in terms of generating some needed rainfall. But our dew points are going to stay low. I think the highest they'll get is closer to 50 degrees, which is still in that lack of mugginess or that comfortable range. Some rain showers. We're down to the south of us today, closer to Brownsville and in parts of the valley. That's where we had some good moisture. Around here, we just started the day with some clouds and then we cleared out and had nothing but sunshine. And there is this little sharp dip in the upper level flow over Texas that helped to get some of those showers going to the south of us. And now the activity all on the East Coast, and actually a very quiet weather pattern most of the week. There's one exception here, and that's Friday into Saturday. A weak disturbance is going to drop into northern Mexico. That could throw a little bit of energy our way. Not a lot of moisture to work with, and that could kickstart a few light showers along with a very weak cold front, helping to generate a few showers on Saturday. But right now we're looking at about a 20% chance. That's it. So tomorrow, just wall-to-wall sunshine, a bluebird day again. At and slightly below freezing in the morning. By the afternoon, making it to 66. And you notice those high temperatures as we go ahead. Right near 70 degrees most of this week. And then into the weekend, despite that weak cold front on Saturday, it's not going to do much. Just kick up the wind a little bit Saturday, but still looks like we'll be above freezing thereafter.
Lots of sunshine this week. Thank you, Adam.
In case you missed it, coming up next.
Good morning to you. It's Monday, February 7th. This morning, a defective fireplace being blamed for a house fire just south of downtown, not far from I-35 and Nogalitos. Firefighters say the fire had spread from the chimney to the attic by the time they arrived. While the homeowner was able to make it out safely, the house is being called a total loss. A shooting outside an Eastside home early this morning has turned deadly.
San Antonio police say people inside the home woke up to the sounds of gunfire around 5:30 this morning. Then they found a relative on the ground in the driveway of the home in the 200 block of Longview Drive. Officers who responded to that scene discovered that he had been shot multiple times. Mayor Kerrville is issuing a disaster declaration in response to the wintry weather that hit the area along with other parts of Texas.
This declaration will allow the city to use resources provided city and state as part of the emergency management plan. You might remember on Thursday, an 18-wheeler jackknife on I-10 out near Kerrville, causing traffic to be stopped and backed up overnight for many, many hours. One person died as a result of that crash. The 18-wheeler crashed into a Ford F-350, and one person inside died.
A federal judge awarding hundreds of millions of dollars to the families affected by that fatal shooting in Sutherland Springs more than 4 years ago.
What we know so far is that a federal judge has awarded $224 million to 17 Sutherland Springs families. A judge ruled that the federal government was 60% responsible for the plaintiff's injuries because of the failure to report that information. That there is a breakdown of all the money awarded to those 17 families. That is all our time. Thanks so much for watching the news at 6.
We'll see you right back here on the Night Beat at 10.